Hey, good morning. I just got home from work, so I'm waiting for the market to open up here. It's about 9 o'clock. Got home not too long ago. So just touching really quick on JetBlue. So like I said in several of my videos about allocating a little bit more money to JetBlue, I do have, I think, about 85 shares in my Webull account. And then of course I still have about, I think, 1,500 or 1,600 allocated. Yeah. Still have about another 1,600 allocated here in JetBlue. So I probably got around my usual 2,500. But I did want to say that this is typically what you look for in those momentum plays where you get a breakout, right? I said it before that typically what you would look for is you would look for a retest, right? So in this particular candle right here, all right, let's recap. In this candle right here, you see large volume testing of resistance, right? And like I said before, 16 has been the resistance for quite some time, right? You can see it right here. $16 has been the resistance for quite some time. It was the resistance here on the initial push, which is where I sold the first time, was at around 16, and you saw it again right here in this candlestick, and then of course frequently where it traded in between a channel. And like I said, that this was your opportunity to accumulate shares and to do your best to accumulate as close to the support as possible, so that if you do dip below, you have your minimum amount of loss. And so eventually, of course, because of more stimulus being issued out, no restrictions in that individuals need to get swabbed in between states, like if you were flying from like another part of the country, like from like New York, if I was going to someplace else, that they don't require you to have like a mandatory swabs. And so of course with the stimulus plans, what do we see? We saw the retest, a little bit of a pullback, right? The very next day we see the stock try to push above, and then finally on the next day is where we get our initial close above the resistance. And so I would say typically what you would do is you would wait until you get your retest. Sometimes it happens late. Like for example, I believe in CRM, when we first broke out, as you can see, the retest for the breakout of 230s didn't until come till like the 6th or 7th day, and basically the best on the low that you could have gotten was about 234. As you can see, the low is 233.96. So you could have waited, saw the retest, and immediately, as you see, the stock is bid up, and then we trade higher. The difference was, like I said with Baba, was that Baba looked weak, right? As you can see, you see how many days where you have the long candles wick. So this, to me, when I looked at it, and I said this in my last video, when I saw it over here, I was like, Baba looks weak because of all of the long wicks. So this all indicates weakness when you see people selling. And I said that there was going to be weakness here at about 280, and the weakness was actually coming at like 275, and people were selling it. And lo and behold, what do we see? Trading to the downside. So this, for me, is a buying opportunity. Hopefully it sits lower in the channel, because I don't have any money that's going to go into the account until Thursday. Or I could sell something and then allocate to take advantage of this little bit of a dip. 2%, not a lot, but if we were to come, like to 240s, or if we were to dip back down here, I would love, of course, to get more of Alibaba, because I actually want to put in about 5,000. And I've got, I think, let me see, about 3,800. So I wouldn't mind putting in an extra. I think I'm up 200, so I could put in an extra 1,400 if we're still trading in that low range as of Friday. But as you can see, this is what you would typically look for. You would look for the opposite, right? If I feel that the stock is strong, then I would see candles like this. Even on the down days, I would see that the buyers are stepping in to basically bid the price up. As you can see right here, we've got a little bit of a resistance at 250. We'll see if it breaks 250 this week. And as you can see again right here, you can see it in this candlestick right here. You can see it in this candlestick right here. You can see it in this candlestick right here. That even though the stock does test a little bit lower, but buyers quickly flood in. Whereas with Baba, you see the opposite. The moment Baba starts to trade higher, what happens? They sell it down. Trades higher, they sell it down. Trades higher, they sell it down. Until finally people realize, okay, somebody must be selling it up here, or there's not enough buyers to step in. And so what happens? The stock gaps down. And what do you see? On the gap down, you see a test of what was the support, right? So 266 was our support. Now we're testing it on the opposite side. You see a breach intraday of 266, and what happens by the end of the day, the stock trades higher. And you saw something very similarly, like I said, with fuel cell. Fuel cell, you can see right here, there's a little bit of support at around $20. The stock intraday trades way above, but then what happens by the end of the day? It sells all the way down. On a green day, you see the exact same thing. Stock trades way above, and at the end of the day, what happens? Stock trades right back down to where your area of support / resistance is. And since you're trading right at it, you're not quite sure. The stock can basically go either way. It could retest higher and then crash, or it could push lower and then move up. You don't have to watch intraday, and then once you get your direction, then you now have your confirmation. So looking at JetBlue, that's basically what we see here. We see 1 day, 1, 2, and a mini day here where you have opportunity to basically buy the dip. You already know where the momentum is pushing. The momentum is pushing to the upside, and then boom, right? You get a breakout day, and then for a lot of times you never know where the stock is. Am I gonna get an opportunity? Is the stock gonna trickle up intraday? Or is the stock going to gap higher? And as you can see, we're gapping up higher. And these are things that you want to look for when you're playing healthy stocks. Typically name brand stocks where you're not basically playing a lot of these more riskier plays. But if you are, you typically don't want to allocate more than 5%. Something like this, you have ample opportunity if you really are convicted, you have a lot of conviction in your picks. I could have allocated, 5,000 or 10,000, but typically I stick to around 25, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 at most, just because I typically like to trade a little bit safer. I don't like to go all in. If something does happen, some bad news comes out, you can quickly, especially in the airline industry, because not a lot of people are flying, although we are seeing more within the country than we are seeing outside of the country. So because of that, you never know. Probably seeing the exact same thing in Norwegian. Let's see if we're seeing, yep, same thing in Norwegian. Same thing, right? We were trading within a channel, roughly around $26. And I believe I only had about $100 or $200 that I put into this the last time. And as you can see, boom, gap up. We see the same thing. Trade to the upside. We might see a retest of 26, which would be an opportunity to buy because this stock has a very long way up. So I will more than likely be adding to this position as well on Thursday. Hopefully it doesn't run away. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a pullback. The futures are showing down, I believe, about 150. That's basically, we're going to leave it here. These are basically the two stocks that I'm going to be watching, as we're probably more than likely seeing a rotation into stocks that have been beaten down in sectors that have not basically moved up, because people are looking for value, right? People are looking for value because a lot of stocks, especially like in tech, have basically run up, and so we're going to see pullbacks into different sectors. You're seeing rotations into like dividend plays, like for example Walgreens. You might see like into other different plays, like for plays that play dividends, or more of the value stocks, like for example ExxonMobil, Wells Fargo was another one, right? So that was another one. We see the exact same thing, a pullback followed by multiple retests, and then finally a day where it gaps up, and then boom, a day where the stock gaps up, 15%. And then of course we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, which is healthy, but more than likely, like I said, and I don't know how many months ago, that the stock was going to trade higher, and you have ample time. This was a beautiful time. Like when you saw this, and I know Wells Fargo is going to go up, you just back up the truck. I'm just, whatever you have allocated, if you got an extra 500, you toss that in, because the stock is bound to trade onto the upside. And so from here, if you would have just put in a little bit of extra money, we're talking about 25% in the span of roughly around maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And of course, there's a lot of volume in these stocks, and these are healthy companies where you don't see these 30% pullbacks, like for example in fuel cell, where literally over the span of like a couple of trading days, the stock loses 36% of its valuation, basically on no news. I'm gonna leave it here. This video is gonna get a little bit too long. Just wanted to leave here. I'm gonna trade the morning, and then I've got work tonight at the hospital for the next couple of days. Hope you guys have a great trading day. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. Of course, hit the like button, and of course, feel free to share the video so that it gets recommended to other people. Thank you very much. Take care. God bless.